Hello, and welcome to our live stream of A State, the dystopian sci fi RPG from Handiwork Games. Those of you that may have caught it last week, we kind of cracked open the book, kind of talked about A State and some initial impressions and everything like that. And those of you that maybe didn't catch that conversation, I'm just going to give you a tiny little summary. But A State, written by Handiwork Games, is kind of a forged in the dark game. It's about some people who live on a corner that love their corner, try to protect it from all the bad things that are happening in this very wild and crazy city. Now, in terms of like the type of adventure we're going to be doing in this place, is that we've got a pre-generated adventure that Brent is going to run us through. He has generously learned the rules, and then he's also read the adventure, and he wanted to give us a chance to be players in this crazy game. Now, we did select pre-generated characters, so we're not going to be using we're not going to have made our own characters for this, but we're going to have a great time. Me and Jeff are, and depending on how this game plays, because what's awesome is that we haven't actually played any Forged in the Dark games whatsoever. None of us.
So I
So
could
this is
ruin
like,
it for everyone.
yeah, this could either be the most amazing experience ever,
It's gonna be great.
or we could never return to the Forged in the Dark, and it's all really on Brent.
Well, no pressure there. That is a hell of an intro.
No vote of confidence here. So
let's welcome him to the stage.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So Brent, yeah. So with that being said, the tables are turned over to Brent, who is our. Do they call him game masters in this, or are they called something else?
Game Master's fine. I
Game,
hate that.
game mother.
I hate that every book has like some sort of clever interpretation of what Game Master should be. So Game Master's fine.
Oh, okay.
Mostly because I don't remember if they did call it out or anything either. So
you're a game master. I just checked, just because I was curious.
Oh, you look it up.
Hey, I was curious.
Thanks for being our R&D department
Thanks
for
for
this
backseat driving, Mike.
With how many different how much different terminology is in this game, I kind of was curious if they wouldn't have something like this street sweeper or something like that. I don't know. City.
Yeah, and
city
it seems like something. It seems like something they would have put into. So, welcome to the city. The city is a place of, as Mike said, dystopian future, with elements that harken back to the past. It's a place where the rich have all the resources and the poor struggle for everything. You are on your little corner of the city called Myers End. Myers End is a forlorn place with miles of brick and concrete tenements. They're all slowly degrading. Water covers the streets, washed through drainage systems that were destroyed long ago. The damp and rotting lower floors of most buildings are left empty, denied help by any city officials. You are in
Meyer End?
Meyer End? No, you're in Janus's. You're in Janus's apartment.
Oh, it's a
one of the higher levels away from the water that you trudge through every day, together with Jane, sitting, conversing about recent troubles on the block. Okay. One of the recent troubles on the block is a few weeks ago, you received a young boy found your apartment. He had escaped from a local person who was keeping children. By the way, this is your content warning as I go into this description. So if anybody isn't comfortable with adult themes, weird themes, slavery, stuff like that, just heads up.
So you may find that this is not your stream, because I just want to comment myself that there's a lot of themes in here which are very touchy, people may have strong opinions, emotions tied to the types of things that come around in A State. So just forewarning that some of those may appear in this stream.
And since we forgot to do it at the beginning, I figured I would interrupt myself for a moment to let you guys know. So a young child had found Janus's apartment as he traveled through the city, having escaped captivity. You being a relatively famous lost finder within Myers End, he came to you with the hopes that you could help find his parents and reunite them, which you have already done, as well as help the other children that are still in captivity. You have done a little bit of research, and you have found out that the person that is holding the children is a woman named Hosanna Nicely. And that is really all you've found out about her so far. And now you've gathered the information on Hosanna Knightley. You do know where she is. And now we're going to take a step back from the narrative, and we're going to do our first action roll to determine kind of what information you know about her location.
Okay.
So the first thing I need to ask you is, we need to know who's going to do it, and what action rating or skill rating are you going to use to make this roll? Because that'll help determine how many dice you're going to use.
Okay.
This kind of feels like your kind of thing. I'm not trying to bow out, but most of my skills are in prowess.
Mm-hmm. No, it does. It seems like this would be a good one for me. Now, I do have both hunt and survey. Hunt, I think, is the more appropriate.
You have found them, so surveying the location might be the better suggestion.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Insight. Okay,
Also,
so I have 2 dice. So basically, now in this case, because I'm making a roll, now I just roll 1d6, right? Or is it 2d6 in this?
It'll be 2d6, and there's some other modifiers, so don't roll yet.
Okay. So I have survey 2, if that helps.
Okay. So if Jane would like to assist, she may. We just need to know narratively how she assists looking into the location. Kind of what are you guys doing to look into the location, to survey this location where you know the children are being kept?
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to help on this one.
Okay. You don't have to.
Oh, okay. I can kind of do it alone.
I think you got this one.
So next, you can take what's called the Devil's Bargain. You can gain 1 extra dice for. Let's see what happens. Basically, I can offer you 1 extra dice, but it will automatically come with a complication, basically. If you want to take the Devil's Bargain, you can roll 3 dice. That would be your survey plus the Devil's Bargain dice, but there would be an inborn complication that happens based on just accepting the dice.
I don't think that's what I think. Okay. I think I'm going to avoid the Devil's
Bargain. Okay. Now there's one other thing you have as an option. If the Devil's Bargain is refused, you can also push yourself. You can take 2 stress to gain another dice. If you want to do that instead of the Devil's Bargain.
2 stress.
No, I think I'm a little bit too early to try to get stress racked up. I'm gonna kind of be a little cautious because I'm sure that I'll need my stress a little bit later, because obviously Jeff is gonna find ways for me to be very stressed in the next little bit. So
okay, go ahead and roll your 2 dice then.
Out of curiosity, is it that on my character sheet it says I have survey, but in the skills I believe they have the skill find? Is that maybe what
it just says the action rating for the task, which is the 1 ability, which is just survey.
All right. Well, I'll just roll the 2 dice then, and you can help me interpret my results. So 2d6, hope and a prayer. And so I guess because normally in these kind of places, like as you say that we know who it is, and you're saying we're looking for them, or we know where they are.
You know where they are. You are looking at the location to determine what your plan is to go in and rescue the children.
Okay, so
Unless your characters don't want to do that, and then unless you're like screw the kids, and then the adventure's over, and you guys
Yeah, that would be our shortest live stream yet.
fantastic.
well,
and we can discuss other things.
my well-earned reputation in the corner. Well, I found them. See you guys.
We're there. Bye.
So I think what I would say is that in order to best understand the location, I would probably try to see, first of all, if there were any defenses and then any weaknesses.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? It basically means that, like, first of all, if this is some sort of smuggling operation where there are people being trafficked or something like that, I would have to assume that there's not just some person named Josana just by themselves in this entire thing. So I'd want to know if there were people, kind of watching from the street corners and all those kind of things, shady figures that seem to be posted like guards.
Yep. Roll your dice and we'll find out if you find any of that out.
And that will be important for me to know. So roll a 3 and a 1. That is terrible.
Yep. That is the worst thing you could have rolled.
I'm giving some opportunities to my companion to get us out of trouble.
Well, you can. So now your option is, since you can roll to resist, which in the book,
yeah.
If you want to try to roll another dice to resist that effect, you can. Let me see what.
Does he get to know what the effect is first, or he?
Nope, because it's a 6 is a success.
Mm-hmm.
4 to 5 is a success with a complication. 1 to 3 is no
failure.
Success.
It's a failure. Yeah, it's don't sugarcoat it, man. It's a failure.
So if you roll to resist, which I'm looking at how that works, if you roll to resist, you can stage up the complication by 1. Meaning you would go from a failure to a success with a complication. If you want to try to roll to resist,
sure. I obviously I'm a little bit. Apparently, I was too interested, and I was.
So when your PC suffers a consequence that you don't like, you could choose to resist.
Well, how about I see what the consequence is before I choose to resist? Let's do that.
Because that's not how it works.
Oh, okay.
The consequences is you don't get any information. Like you don't get, like, you get to make a plan without knowing anything as to what's going to happen.
Sure.
For some reason, either due to flooding or something like that, you weren't able to observe the location. So are you going to go with that, or do you want to try and resist the call?
I'll try and resist.
Okay.
I
got
feel like
faith in you. You got this.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. It doesn't rain every day. Is that right? Do I roll 2 dice for that, or do I?
I'm looking now. 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, you might not want to do this. Your character suffers 6 stress when they resist, minus the highest die result from the resistance roll. So if you roll a 4, you'd suffer 2 stress. If you roll a 6, you'd suffer 0 stress. If you get a critical result, you also.
Sounds easy. You just need to roll a 6.
Yeah, you probably
can happen.
Since you didn't want to take the 2 stress to get an extra dice, you probably don't want to do that.
Well, it's a little early to be.
Is it
like clearing my stress all the way out? I don't need to be getting trauma just looking at a building. I think probably what my character is going to have determined is that it was a super rainy day. He tried to find people that looked like they were out and about, posted at typical rules and everything like that. But unfortunately, with how much it was raining, all he got was really wet in the equation. So we know it's a building. We don't know the level of defenses. We kind of have to work with that.
There's a little bit of information you got, limited information that you got from asking around. Is also that other people have also discovered that Hosanna nicely is keeping the children in the tenement. So other people do know about it, and they educated you, and you found that out in observing the location. You kind of got an idea that she makes her money supplying gas and water pipe fittings. And that there is a gang called the Hollier Gang that runs security for them sometimes. They're usually, you're not aware if they're usually in the building or not.
So know where they hang out?
Yes, a different building, but they don't hang out there. They're on the corner just like you guys are. So they do have a main house, but it's quite a ways away from there. So now... it is the plan making phase. There are 4 plans available to you guys. There's assault, deception, stealth, or social. Which of these do you think would make more sense for how you would like to rescue the children?
I think we have to try to be stealthy, but we have no idea what we're going to encounter.
I agree. I really don't feel like assault. I mean, if we had more people, maybe assault might be the right way to go about it. But with 2 of them, I feel like deception or stealth are really where it is. I mean, technically, this character has I don't think we have a face type character in this. So why don't we try? Which would you prefer out of stealth or deception? I am saying that right,
I would prefer stealth.
That is for you guys to decide, not for me to decide. So
no, but that was like the 2 of the options were deception and stealth.
Assault, deception, stealth, and what was it? I think there's a 4th one. Let me check.
Social, you said.
Yep, that would be so. Yes, you would be limited to the others.
Okay.
Did anybody check to make sure the stream was working? By the way.
No.
There's definitely video. Hang on. There's definitely video.
Well, there's Jeff.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, perfect.
There's definitely video.
Well, there's Jeff. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, everybody's working.
Okay.
I just had the audio turned down.
I know you keeping an eye on chat. By chance.
I have chat up. I haven't seen anybody chatting, but
okay.
We do have some viewers. And if you want to ask us a question or make a comment, feel free to chat, and we will do our best to answer.
Yeah, I just am not, so I wanted to, and I usually am, so I wanted to make sure that
that's fair.
Someone was.
Okay.
So yeah, those are your options. So tell me how you would like to sneak into this building, which is going to be pretty interesting because you don't know anything about the building itself.
Well, so if we were to assume that this would be like a typical tenement, and you were trying to be stealthy, Jeff, what would your first go to? Are you like a go above kind of guy or go below kind of guy? You would top.
Well, considering all the lower floors are flooded, or moldy or waterlogged or whatever the. I think we need to find a back entrance or something up higher, a window, or. Do the buildings like touch each other and have common walls, or is there space in between the buildings?
We're gonna say there's space. Well, no, they're row houses basically here. In Myers, then they're row houses, so they're touching.
Okay, so we would be able to take some. So I mean, Jeff, we could take like a fire escape, maybe not necessarily on this building, but we could use the connected buildings to find a ceiling access, maybe a window or a fire escape. Or
yeah, I would say with the water issue, if we can get up to the roof, even if it's from an adjacent building, that's probably the way to go.
Okay, because the back door seems.
Most people don't. Go ahead.
I think back door seems rather direct. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, but if I was a criminal mastermind, I'd have the back door covered.
Yeah, and probably the stairwells. So,
okay.
And this feeling they almost never see, and it's virtually never alarmed.
Did they, now out of curiosity, so just to kind of help elaborate on the scene a little bit, Brent, does this have like any sort of like backyards or anything like that? Or is this so stiflingly
industrialized?
Close?
Okay. It's industrialized. I will let you know, since you know where the building is. It's a 3-story tenement. time worn and covered with fungus. It does have a peaked roof that sags. It has a bunch of holes in the surface.
Okay.
There are the lower 2 stories have crudely bricked windows, but they look pretty rickety from the outside.
Yeah, I think we try the holes in the roof.
Yeah,
See if
I
we
think
can
that seemed like a
punch any
solid
through.
chest. So okay, so our plan will be to gain access through a hole in the roof, and to get to the holes in the roof, we may choose a building nearby to shimmy up and over. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Let's see here. All right, and Jane has the prowl skill, correct?
Yes, I have prowl.
Okay. So next is the engagement roll. Make an engagement roll, and usually you start with 1d6 for sheer luck, and then apply any advantage if you determine the plan is detailed strikes of vulnerability. So I am going to say the holes in the roof is a good idea. I kind of like that. So I'm going to give you 2 dice, and I'm going to go ahead and have Jane roll since she's the sneakier one.
So 2d6.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, I
see
just
if
go up there and I'm
this
like,
Jesus Christ, guys, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that wasn't good. I might have just plunged to my death.
you may want to take a resistance.
I'm gonna try. No, I'm gonna try to resist. I'm gonna do. It's 1d6, Brent.
Yes. All right, so you take 5
stress. All right. This is how you die in a state in the first 10 minutes.
I think that the particle effects on your dice, which are barely visible on here, are weighing your dice towards the negative.
Okay, so
Right, so I have 5 out of 10 stress. All right, that's probably an okay thing. So,
due to a great deal of effort and stress, as Jane kind of helps Janus. Is it Jane and what the hell? Yeah, Jane and Janus. Okay, good.
I thought it was Giannis. I thought it was more Eastern European with.
Okay, Giannis. We can do Giannis.
But I don't know.
Are you Yane then? Anyways.
Yeah. There we go.
Jane and Janus. Because Janus isn't necessarily the most sneaky of people, it takes a little bit extra. Just kind of. Yes, but somebody rolled shitty. He's helping keep.
And you're getting the blame. I love this. I roll bad.
Everything. Well, he didn't roll great either. You're both to blame. Based on the situation, you're going into a situation that's potentially hostile. There's kids in danger. And as you approach, you hear the sounds of a mob starting to form in front of the building. Yelling voices, screaming people who are aware of what's going on inside the building. So this may be time sensitive, which adds to the stress of the situation.
Okay.
So as you slide through one of the larger holes in the building, you fall into the 3rd story, top of the tenement. And you, let's see. You land basically on a catwalk at the top, and it's basically an open area. You can look down into the bottom 2 floors of the tenement. It's a large open area, and there's no internal walls basically that remain inside anyways. Rusting, whirring machines stand on bricks. There's dog fat candles spread around. The smell in the place is absolutely awful. Much of the bottom floor is much like the rest of Myers End, with inches of water. There's some tables and beds scattered out at one end of the room. And inside, did you guys go in at night, or did you guys go in?
Definitely at night.
Okay.
Evening. Yeah, definitely night.
You do see a couple children. Looks like they're working in shifts. By a couple, I mean 14 children. 7 currently working. I thought there were less than that for some reason. I think I read it as 4 the first time I read it. There's 7 children currently working the machines, manacled to their ankles in heavy chains, with 7 of them sleeping kind of on the least wet portions of the floor, still chained as they're resting.
Chained together or individually chained to an object?
Individually chained to pikes in the floor.
Okay.
You see who you assume there's an older woman in one of the beds towards the end sleeping, and there's 3 kind of heavy-set guards kind of plodding through the water. They have iron-shod staves, and they're kind of watching over the 7 children that are working.
So are they moving, or are they, I mean, do they look alert, lazy, moving, stationary?
They look lazy and tired, but they're moving around the room watching the kids.
Okay.
And you can basically see them once if one of the children seems to like start to nod off or slack, they'll usually bang them with the metal rods they carry to get them to work harder.
Does the catwalk extend over the place where the old lady's sleeping?
Yeah, basically it goes around the top and kind of there's a top one, a middle one for the second floor. And then it just there's like a ladder that goes, or not a ladder, like a staircase that goes in the bottom. It's all basically like iron grating type stuff.
Do I have a clear jump from the catwalk to the bed, and I can use her to break my fall?
You could do it. It's still a 3-story fall, so it's 30 feet roughly.
Out of curiosity, does she match the description of this Jonas lady?
Yes.
Hosanna.
You're pretty sure that's her. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure she wasn't like the help. It's like,
yeah, if it was 20 feet, Mike, I'd have already jumped. 30 sounds a little far.
Yeah, let's let me retro one thing. Let's say there's 2 thugs sleeping, 1 awake, and then she's sleeping.
Okay.
So there's 1 watching them at night.
Sure.
I don't know if we can take him out quietly. Taking him out quietly would be ideal, but the kids might freak out.
Well, I think the problem will be is that the kids aren't going to understand the situation. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, if we go in there and you like jump down on the lady and then like, take her out ghost knife style, the kids are just going to freak. They're going to be like, oh, we're dead. That's just
if we can freak out the kids, then it's trying to cause chaos, but we're not going to get the kids out without unchaining them. They can't go anywhere. So
would it be possible, like, is the way the machines are set up, does it create any kind of blind spots where the person who's going around like he can't see to the catwalks, or is there a way, or like, because I'm just wondering if there's a way we could signal down to the kids to be like, shh, we're here for you, those kind of
we're here for you,
intimate that we're there to rescue them rather
than there isn't really a blind spot. It's like open. So
okay.
Well, I think we need to try to get down to the stairs or the ladder. We've got to try to get down there.
Yeah.
And if somebody shouts out an alarm, we have a few extra seconds, but we've got to get down as fast as we can.
So,
but 5 on 2
is pretty bad. Do
not
you think
great odds?
I think,
which is why I was trying to take one out.
What if you were to jump down on to her in some capacity, and then she's now a hostage? Because obviously, if she has pull, then we can negotiate with a position.
Yeah, I was hoping that when I jumped down on her, she would die, or I could stab her right away, and then the other guy's got nothing to fight for if she's gone.
Well, I mean, you could prowl down a level and then try jumping on her. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you could try whatever you want. What your role is going to determine. Like,
let me try and prowl down a level and reassess.
Okay, go ahead and roll your prowl, which looks like 2 dice.
And personally, I would prefer if you didn't kill her. Obviously, I would like her to face some sort of justice back home for stealing these children. Double nines. Just kidding.
Ooh. So yeah, that's a critical success. So you sneak down. Let's see.
To the second level.
Yeah, 1 second. You of course do it. I'm just seeing if I can give you anything extra, or should give you anything extra for that roll being so good.
Yeah.
Your prize is 5 more stress.
Yeah, I think the tough part about this, while Brent is looking, is that it feels like there's when I'm looking at the A state risk card, like the standard reward, great reward, extreme reward, matrix thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one where is it supposed to be that the consequences are more explained up front? But maybe, I don't know.
It's kind of like I believe it's supposed to be kind of like Monster of the Week, where your where it's like a move, kind of, where there's levels to what happens. So you would be successful without a complication. You're just successful. But what I'm going to do is, if you decide to jump on her, we'll make an attack roll, and what I'll do is I'll give you extra dice for it, because I feel like a critical success deserves something extra. So
yeah, I'm going to try to jump on her. I will try the hostage thing, but if the hostage thing doesn't work, I am transitioning quickly. If the guards,
to murder,
laugh and charge.
So yeah, use your that would be your skirmish. Yeah, roll your skirmish with 1 extra dice.
So does that mean I get 3 dice then?
Yep. Go ahead and roll 3 dice.
3 dice from skirmish. Oh, back to the really good rolls.
Did you roll 1 6 at all?
Nope. I rolled a 1, a 2, and a 4.
So the 4 is success with a complication. So let's see. What should we do? What do you think would be a fair complication? Would a fair complication be taking another point of stress for the fall? Or I think that's what we should do.
Okay. I will take another point of stress for the fall. I didn't land cleanly. That makes sense.
You landed, pain shoots up your ankle,
right.
But you succeeded in grabbing her and landing on her. And somehow they're even still asleep. So yeah. What is Janus doing while basically... did he stay up on the 3rd floor and watch Jane sneak down to the 2nd level and just basically make a kind of an elegant leap off of the second level down, silently land next to Hosanna?
Yeah, I have to say that in terms of where I could make it, I think if possible, I would have chosen to go down 1 floor with him, just kind of silently moving with her to get to the point where I could be on that. But I'm definitely not going to have jumped off. That's just crazy. Who would do that?
The bed's a few feet off the ground. It's only 10 something feet.
I'm an old heavy set man. 10 feet is like a million at that point. In terms of what I could probably do is I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get the kids to keep quiet, because do the kids notice any of this as they're working on their machines, or is it too loud?
The machines are loud, and Jane was also, Jane landed without a sound, like
Fairly stealthy. Well, it's just because of the water.
Until he grabs. Well, this part's without water because it's where the important people are sleeping. So there's really no water on their air in Hosea's area. And like I said, his prowl roll, like Jane landed like a feather.
Perfect.
And once Jane does the attack roll, that's when
that's when things went a little rough.
There's also the noise of people outside, which hasn't really alerted anyone yet because it hasn't gotten too loud, but it's starting to crank up the longer that this goes on.
Yeah.
And you can see kind of some of the guards stirring as the yelling and torchlight starts to come in the windows and stuff as the mob grows. But until Jane does something, it's like no one really knows anything else right now.
Oh, that's pretty good. Would it be possible to position myself or find a way to get towards the front door of this place? Because I feel like
Are you trying to do it quietly?
Yes. I'm going to try to put myself in the front door where I mean, because I think the backup plan for me is that we just let the mob in. Like that's the backup plan. It's create so much chaos that we can try to get the kids out of there. Is that something you feel like?
Your one worry about that is that the kids may be hurt in the chaos.
It's true.
One worry about that. But
like I said, it's a terrible like last ditch effort. But I feel like if otherwise my goal is to get above the other guy that's awake and just basically get ready to land on him.
It's up to you. Wherever you're going, you need to make a prowl roll to see if you get there quietly.
Okay. Well, let me go over ahead of the other guy. And I mean, I can land on him like the best of whales. Just a whale in a flower pot falling down on some dude.
You missed the banana peel. It causes you to slip.
What are you doing? Are you walking down or are you?
Yeah, you need to walk. You need to at least walk down a level.
Or are you jumping? Are you jumping on someone? Yeah.
I'm gonna jump down on the guy. I'm gonna kind of try to stealthily position myself above him as best as I can, so that like I can have one of those.
Yeah.
So
isn't that a prowl at first?
Yeah, make your prowl roll first. Make your prowl roll first.
Okay, I can make.
You got this.
Roll 6.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't have this. So I have a prowl, and that's one. I have a prowl of 1 because I have 1 in finesse, but I don't have 1 in prowl.
Yep. Roll your dice.
So I get a dice.
You don't have 1 in prowl, or you do have 1?
I don't have 1 in prowl. I have 1 in finesse.
Oh, roll your. Go ahead and roll.
Yeah, I don't quite get how the bonuses work. I mean, I get like if I have stuff marked in there, I get extra dice, but I don't.
I got 1 dice.
I'll give you one. I'll give you 1 dice for it.
Okay, there it goes.
Yep. You. So basically, you start walking towards the guards.
Am I just too loud?
Yeah. Basically, you start walking toward the guard, and the guard looks up at you. As you fail to be quiet. The guard. You were trying the guard that was walking around with the kids, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And he basically looks up and sees you, and like he points with his cane, but he doesn't say anything yet. Now Jane can do what she wants.
I kind of want to get the old lady, like with my arm around her throat and like the knife pointing at her jugular.
Okay,
where I can just push it in.
Or finesse, and hopefully I'm doing these rolls right now that you questioned me.
I wasn't trying to question you. I was
no. I mean, I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing the rolls right. Like I'm pretty sure it's just your ability, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, because my finesse says like above like where they're listed in the matrix, it says that I have a finesse of +1 and I have 1 mark for finesse. But that doesn't get that still only gets me 1 dice, the same thing I get as if I didn't roll anything.
You have a 2 in finesse, don't you? Or no, you want to skirmish. This is a combat roll. You want to skirmish.
Okay, so I get 2 dice.
Yeah, you want to roll. Yeah, your skirmish.
Okay.
Not bad.
5.
What did you roll? A 5 and a 2?
Yep.
Okay. Sick.
Oops. I was trying to clear the table and I cleared the chat.
It's okay. With 5 and 2, we know it's.
As I'm looking at these dice, I like the textures on the dice faces more than I like the smoke.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice.
I like the fancy smoking dice. It doesn't tell you what to roll under fight either. It doesn't say what fight actually is, so I'm gonna assume it's just skirmish.
Let's see.
You did a roll of 5, so
this is a success. I have a complication.
It's a reduced effect.
So when you fight, you get right up close. Fights happen. Who are you taking on, and how are you in it to win? How badly?
Okay.
Do.
So what happens is you do grab her. You grab her. You wrap your arm around her. You threateningly hold your knife to her, but she starts screaming immediately, and the 2 other guards wake up. That's your complication.
Yeah, that's complicated. Okay.
And now, what else would you guys like to do?
Well, like I said, I was going to drop.
So what happened? Oh, okay. Roll your wreck then, or roll your.
Yeah, let's. It's going so well, it can't go worse, right?
So I'm not really sure at this point.
Fall like
actually, what skill do you have that would apply to falling on somebody in this case?
Charm. I hear that people fall in and out of love.
I think that's how if I remember right, I think that's how the skills are supposed to work. Is you say I want to do something, and I say how are you doing it, and then you give me the skill that you want to roll for it.
Okay.
So you just all you gotta do is tell him how. I stared deeply into his eyes.
So deeply in his eyes. I seduce him with my fall.
I seduce the dragon. Let's go.
Heavyset, reserved, compassionate. Those are my look keywords. This is going to be.
I didn't realize you were a bard, Mike.
Well, apparently. So I think what I'm going to try to do is
you have finesse, or
I have finesse. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to angle myself to use the greatest portion of my weight to kind of belly flop into him. Okay. I feel like I don't feel like it's less of an attack and more of a disabling fall. Like I'm just trying to accurately.
We'll see. Because basically he saw you, and oi, and then you finesse. With finesse, you belly flop on him.
I gave him a long distance falling hug. And I get to roll what, 1 dice because I have 1 in finesse.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see your swanton bomb off the top rope. Let's go.
From the turnbuckle.
Oh no, you definitely climbed a ladder on this one.
Well, I was successful.
You were successful. You do. He does yell, "Oh, you there!" and then really loud. Again, alerting the guards to the second person. But you do successfully land on him.
Yeah.
And
my goal was to get him underwater, kind of like.
Okay, well, you're not drowning him.
No, but just to kind of like
successful. But he is on the ground under you.
Okay. And I was going to try to like basically hold him down, kind of get the baton away from him and kind of struggle with him that way.
Let's see. I'm going to give you a point of stress for that too.
Okay.
I think that's fair. You're only at 1. I'm at 6.
So we're at like this dogfight on the ground where I'm just trying to like.
Yeah, you're now kind of grappling with him. Not like there's rules for that, but you're grappling with him.
Well, I'm obviously narratively trying to survive, and he's trying to beat the crap out of me.
Well, yes, he's trying to hit you with the metal baton.
Yeah, and I'm trying to stop him from doing that. So, Jeff, do something really cool, really quickly.
Are the other 2 guards up, awake?
They're like starting to stand up. Kind of like, what's going on? Is she screaming? And they heard the other guy, and now they hear the crowd outside.
I yell at the 3 guards to start releasing the children, or your boss is dead.
They kind of look at you and they look at her. And she basically says, do what he said. Or okay, roll. Let's see. Roll.
I'm using command.
Yeah, use command. Roll command with a bonus because you get 1d6 bonus. Because this is definitely command anyone with violence. So go ahead and roll that.
2d6.
Oh, nice.
Well, there's
5 and a 3.
6 and a
Right?
3.
No.
6 and a 3.
Oh, 6
yeah.
and a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my old dice are still on there.
So
Yeah.
they immediately kind of stand and kind of like hold their hands up, like, don't hurt her, everything will be fine. And they kind of they move over to start getting the kids out from their chains, and the other guy basically stops struggling under you as Janus yelled at, or Jane. I'm combining your names basically. As Jane yelled out her threat, and the guy started moving over, your guy kind of went limp under you. He kind of stopped struggling.
Oh, well, in that case, I take the iron baton away from him and I kind of like stand defensively and I say, "Oi, get yourself over there."
Okay.
Because I obviously have control of the situation now.
He gets up and moves over to a corner as the other two come over and start unlocking the children's manacles.
Okay. So, and I kind of back away towards Jane and I say, "Do you tie her up? What do we do here?"
And as Janus says, "What do we do here?" You hear this large, like, cracking noise, and the voices of the mob outside get louder as people with torches and makeshift weapons basically start streaming into the little machine shop. The mob has grown quite large in the few minutes this encounter.
You're more charming than me. Tell them to get the children to safety, the children that are getting released.
Okay. So I guess at this point, I'm going to make a run towards the door to make an impassioned speech about, how we've come to save the children. And it's this, because this is all taking place in Myers End. Like, people know who I am. So, I
will give you a bonus dice for that. What are you using?
Okay, so my impassioned speech is to basically have them calm down and help me collect the children, and not be crazy. So I'm going to use sway, because that sounds
perfect. That sounds perfect.
Good.
So
nice.
Roll your sway with a bonus dice.
Okay, perfect.
Let's go.
For me, that doesn't seem like it's going to do much, but my impassioned speech: "Stop now. We can save these children."
You need to push that.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to take some stress. Try to push that to.
Do you think? I mean,
wait.
Sorry.
You only have one. Wait, you have one sway or two sway?
One sway.
Oh, one plus one extra dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to resist that.
So my consequences right now are what? Just that, like, the mob just basically pours in, goes like the scrubbing tunnels.
Yeah. Yep. Pours
all
in.
Hell breaks loose.
Yeah, all hell breaks loose. You won't know what happens to the kids, most likely, because you didn't stop them from coming in.
Okay.
The thugs may get away. The kids may get away. You're not really going to know what happens to the kids. You might find a couple of them after the mob kind of goes away. They will take Hosanna. I mean, they're already threatening death upon her.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's so basically I'm gonna take stress, and my stress is gonna be represented in me trying to like hold back the mob by my heavy set self,
like grabbing people as they try and
just trying to like play bouncer, like when you see like a concert and you see that one guy that's like trying to hold back the crowd and making themselves big. That's what I think. That's what I'm going to ultimately try to do in this scenario.
The big Viking guy that's throwing people back at the audience at Gwar.
But unfortunately I'm not that strong or that intimidating, so that's how I'm going to take my stress.
No, but you're that charming.
So roll your d6.
Okay.
So you took you took 4 stress. Yeah,
4 stress.
But this bumps it up to a success with a complication instead of just an outright failure. So you manage to stop the majority of the mob. The majority stops, but a few sweep in. And basically the few, unless Jane stops them, the few that sweep in basically take Hosanna nicely from Jane. And you do see a few people run in and like grab their children and start to whisk them away.
You know, I'm going to be honest, whether I was the one that finished her or the mob is the one that finished her, this isn't the kind of stuff that we need, you know, in the neighborhood. So I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to fight the mob. Even though the guards may start freaking out, I'm going to let them take her.
Yeah, the guards try and like try and hide basically somewhere in the location, just to try and stay away from the mob. But they do take Hosanna and the like 6 or 7 people that got in, because there's about 50 people in the mob now. A lot of them stopped to listen to Janus talk, but the few that come in, like 2 or 3 people, look at you and they look at Hosanna and they just basically indicate for you to give her to him. And once you do, Hosanna's like, no, don't let him take me. I was doing my best to help these wayward kids as they're taking her away. And basically they disappear back into the crowd and the mob kind of leaves. So you're now
so are all the kids freed? Some of the kids freed?
All the kids are freed. There's about, we'll say, 10 of them left. Kind of standing there, kind of shell-shocked, tired, hungry. There's the 3 guards that are kind of huddled behind the machines.
All right. I'm going to point my knife menace. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
had a
you're
thought
fine.
I wanted to.
No, that's fine. Go.
I wanted to start walking towards them, but also the door. Do you know what I mean? To shepherd the kids out.
Mm-hmm.
But I point my knife menacingly at them and I go, I know what you look like now. And if I see you around here again doing things like this again, it'll end differently. And I'm trying to back out and
they know you from your reputation, so they're pretty scared. What does Janus do?
Oh, Janus was pretty busy doing the whole like trying to manage a mob. I didn't really think if I've managed to get the mob to like not be crazy and steal all the children regardless of whether they're their children or not, I'm gonna go start unlocking the children that haven't been.
Oh, they were all unlocked. The guards unlocked all of them before the mob broke in. Okay. The 4 that are gone were probably taken. That seemed like they were taken by their actual parents. But you have 10 children that Jane is like ushering towards you now, and the mob is pretty much gone. They basically
there's probably a couple of
lingering. A couple of them, when you exit the building, will run up and probably grab their children because that's what their biggest concern is.
Yeah.
But like the mob basically rushed away like a wave with Hosanna once they found the person that they knew was responsible.
Sure. So then basically try to get the children together and do my best to calm them down. I think that I think that in terms of like, the kind of trauma that they dealt with.
Yeah, they're more shocky than scared. Because some of them have been there for a couple months, and so they're more shocky and hungry.
So just trying to like get them, like the kind of the care and the comfort that they're okay. We're going to do everything that we can to get them back home and all that stuff. And
so a few more parents rush in, and hug their kids and kind of help them off, and say thank you. We've been looking for them for weeks now, and usher them off. So you're about down to probably about, let's say, 7 kids left.
Okay. Well, I think we can take those 7 kids back to my place and then kind of start the process of finding their parents.
Yeah, figure out where their parents are.
Have your own gang of Oliver Twist criminal children.
No, but I mean, there has to be, somebody, at least once the mob's dispersed, there has to be somebody we can contact.
Yeah. So over the
Get
next
kids
few,
back to their homes.
as a prelude, over the next few days, using your skills as a lost finder, you do manage to find the children new home, either new homes, people that will help take care of them if you weren't able to find their families, or their actual families. Over the next couple days, you also hear that the machine shop was looted and not burned to the ground, but basically looted, and enough damage was done that it kind of caved in, and is now just another moldering kind of edifice in Myers End. But your corner in Myers End in the city is a little bit better because you saved children and got them back to their families.
Okay.
And that is the adventure. Nicely done.
Oh, so we saved somebody.
Kind of, sort of, in spite of ourselves.
I mean, you saved the kids. You did good.
We did save the kids.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little bit tricky because I feel like that was definitely the fail forward version of.
Definitely. There was definitely some problems, and
I should have assisted you. I didn't. I'm going to be honest. Not having played the system.
Yeah, we really didn't know.
Every single advantage that you can get, I should have been. I should have narratively been trying to come up with something, because this is a punishing. I'm not. I don't mean this badly, okay? Because I do like Jeopardy, right? It makes you have to think differently and react differently. But it felt punishing because we were rolling bad, and
well, statistically, in games,
you should succeed half the time.
Yeah.
2/3 of the successes are with complications.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're still successes.
That's true. You guys did roll pretty bad.
I was pretty amazed at how bad we rolled, honestly.
The few rolls that you had, and the first roll is kind of hard. I don't know. I struggle with some systems like this for that first roll where it's well, this is the information that you're going to have when you go in.
I should have been assisting you. Yeah, I should have come up with something.
But a fail basically means nope, you're going in totally blind, which what the building looks like at least. And that's why I gave you that information, because that doesn't make sense that you wouldn't at least know that.
Right.
With the roll, I would have given you more of what's in the inside and stuff like that. Once you're in, basically the stuff that you got when you got inside, I would have given to you at that point.
Sure.
Okay.
So there's that.
That makes sense.
Other complications that could have been is there's the actual gang members are there, and you have to fight the gang members too. But once I saw you roll that one roll, I was like, I'm not putting.
Yeah, we'll just die like that.
I'm not putting more threats in this, because they're dangerous too. The gang members are actually dangerous.
No, that would have been a lot.
But
not saying too much, but
yeah, I think
hopefully I did some justice. This one shot is one of their base introductory adventure called Nicely Done. So hopefully I did it justice.
Yeah, this should just warm you up and get you ready. I mean, I can see how it does that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, now I'm kind of I messed that up so badly, and I could have done this, and I could have done that, and I could have. I liked some of what I did.
I'll take the blame for that, because I don't know if I GM'd it the best with my limited knowledge of the rules.
Oh, yeah, but it's making me want to explore a little bit more. Do a little more detailed scenario where it's not quite so straightforward.
I don't know if I would want to do this version of Forest in the Dark. I'll admit I struggle. Sorry for the person that suggested this. I will admit I struggle to be kind of inspired by this kind of setting. It was kind of hard for me to get into it. I got into it a little bit more when we started playing, of course, because we were playing, and that pretty much is fun to me no matter what. And so that was good. The rules are interesting. All that setup dice rolls, I think, is always weird. I feel like you could do a lot of that through role playing, just base role playing, and maybe small. It's just
I guess we could lay out we're going to do this, and we're going to do these 5 things to get ready, and then we roll the dice to see how effective it was.
That's kind of what you're supposed to.
I don't mind the concept.
Yeah. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. Yeah,
fully understood. Or I would have been assisting
Well, yeah,
Right,
you
see
don't
where
really
am I thumb
understand
up my ass.
because it's new. It's new, so yeah, I get it.
Right.
I would be interested to see now that I have a little bit more understanding of the system. I will probably reread some basic Forged
Sure.
Blades in the Dark because it's a little bit more interesting to me now. But like I think the corner part is like that's a really big piece of this. So like it's weird that they have a one shot like this that doesn't detail any of that. Because like even if you look at the even if you look at the core rulebook, like a large part of the core rulebook is dedicated to
The corner.
yeah, like what you're
I
gonna do
like
at the
the corner
corner.
concept. I at least feel like I can understand it. You know what I mean? And that's our part of Meyer End, right? That's the
Well,
part
you're
that
part of the
we
city. Meyer
protect.
End is the
And
corner, but yeah,
well, I thought Meyer End was a section of the city. I thought it was the slums, essentially.
It's even more concise than that. So
Yeah,
what's
it's
interesting
okay.
about it
So
is
it's
that
a
like if you imagine
portion
the
of the
city as
slums.
being like just imagine the biggest city that you can possibly imagine, and then you zoom in on one block. Like that's literally your block.
Yeah, think of it
All
like
the
the beginning
and
of Judge
successes.
Dredd, where Judge
Well,
Dredd
because
is like,
I kind of thought our corner was kind of in my head. I was conceptualizing it as like the block, because like there's shops that we protect and the places where we live.
Yeah,
I kind of
it's
figured like we control the block.
exactly. It's
Regardless of what
literally
you
like
call
having
it.
your own
But I
Sesame
didn't think
Street.
that was Meyer
Yeah.
End. I thought Meyer End was larger than that. But
Mm-mm.
that's okay. I just didn't know.
no, Meyer End is your corner.
Yeah, that's just the name of it.
And you're not in control of it. You guys are just like, however many of the party is trying to make the corner better. Like, I think there's things that you can spend to be in control, more control of it.
Yeah.
But like, there's gangs and everything that you're going to interact with.
Well,
Sure.
So this is what I thought was really interesting about the corner politics and all that stuff is the corner can very easily become the game. Like your political
It's supposed to be
maneuvering,
the game.
I'm just saying like the macro conceptual part of it rather than just the individualized missions that you do, like because you can run for office. Each corner, like when you build the corner, like all the factions have certain like levels of influence within your corner and like how big of a place they have in it, like that, you have. I mean, it's just it's so detailed. I was actually really impressed with how many different facets they included in the whole corner management process. Like when I was reading through that, I was like, well, this is really cool because I mean, your corner really can have, an outside influence, basically taking a very close look at your corner. And that's why you follow the TCA, the TCA and all that stuff. And so they may actually be like policing your corner. So you actually have a level of stability because you're, they don't.
You manage to make connections within the
Yeah.
TCA,
And so you're like paying tithe or taxes or something to basically keep the protection up, but you also get services and everything like that. Or you could live in like this shadowy, like dog eat dog part of it where nobody really gives a crap. And the death deal, I think they're death dealers? Is that what they're called? They come and like they'll just collect corpses and put those in the nutrient vats or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
So it's a really brutal sounding system.
Yeah, and it mirrors Blades in the Dark, because that's what Blades in the Dark is. Like you're a gang, and the core mechanic is your influence that you're building in your gang. You have a hideout, and it's your hideout. You build on your hideout and your influence, just like it builds off the same concept. Which is interesting. Like the idea is that your corner or your gang or whatever, whichever game you're playing, like that becomes the game. Like sure, there may be little missions that you do to cement your power, but like the idea is that that is the game. And it makes it kind of it starts to be more, and it gets progressively more and more sandboxy as you learn it and decide things proactively to do for your corner.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's really what what's interesting about it is it does encourage, because after you build your corner, you're encouraged to basically kind of be a player forward kind of thing, as opposed to necessarily the GM creating all the adventures. Obviously, the GM can create tons of threats for you to
threats and hooks and stuff, but the game becomes the players deciding what they do to improve their corner overall.
Yeah.
And hopefully the one shot I did it justice. It's kind of hard to do a one shot like this. This is really a campaign game, in my opinion. Like this is a game we're playing multiple games to improve your block. It's like I wouldn't pick this for a one shot normally.
Yeah, but you'd still I think it's good to like test it out, because I think if based on my read of it, if I'm going to be honest, I think that we probably, we were very much in the party mentality and we weren't very much in the individual mentality, if that makes sense. So like when we're planning, I mean, nothing said that we both had to go through the roof, right? Like you could have gone up through the roof.
I could have gone through the roof.
You could. I could have gone in the back. I could have kicked in the front door, gone in through the back door. Or
that's true, but it is one dice roll.
It is. But what I'm saying is the way we set it up would have been less D&D style party and more like cinematic.
Yeah, you could have done it that way.
Like
that's true.
Kind of some of that stuff.
But you split up in D&D too. I mean,
that's true.
No, that's a good point. You could have. Yeah, that's a good point.
And then I think the other thing is that I think the consequences up front. I think isn't that something that's really talked about in the game, is that you like basically we say what we're going to do and you say these are your consequences, these several items, and then that's what we get to.
I think so, probably. But I don't think if there's I couldn't give you. I couldn't really give you the consequences without like giving you more information that you weren't supposed to get.
Yeah.
That's the hard part about that.
Because I think
maybe the devil's bargain, I probably could have told you like the gang becomes aware that you're looking around if you want to take the devil's bargain. So the gang members would have been in the building if you had taken the devil's bargain. I probably could have told you that. But I don't know if I would have done that because there's only two of you. And like you guys could there were already 3 guards. So 3 guards and 3 gang members plus a named gang member would have been not
that's
you
true.
guys. So in an effort to kind of balance the scenario for I kind of did that. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe that's not like a part of this is trying to balance the scenarios, but forcing you guys to narratively overcome those complications. But it's a short scenario too, and like
it is.
So yeah.
And
in retrospect, like I said it before we started streaming, like I was having a hard time getting into the game. Like I said, the setting didn't really inspire me, and I was kind of struggling a little bit with the rules. Like I think we did better once we started. Like I saw how they were used. Hopefully, I did it correctly. If not, somebody please go ahead and read me the riot act. But I think it got a little bit easier once we started playing. But like I just didn't know. Yeah, it's just a matter of not knowing either. Yeah, you probably should give some of the consequences ahead of time, but like some of the consequences, there's just being it's informational. Like it's really hard to give them to you because it's like, well, then you have the information that you were supposed to get from the dice roll.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just because it's interesting because one of the things that I think they talk about is how like you can up the risk and reward as part of the entire process. And so I think that my brain isn't used to that type of approach, if that makes sense. So let's say we want to.
So like this is exactly what it says. So preparing for the action roll, find one character to lead the effort, which you did.
Okay.
They should describe how the character will scout the tenement, which I should have had you do that in more detail. And based on this, the player chooses an action for the task. The obvious one is survey, which we did. Then you set position and effect, which I should have done. I don't understand really what that means, though. As a default, the surveying the tenement is risky, and the effect is standard, which is what I used. I used risky and standard.
So risky. I think risky is the
risky's the default.
Yeah.
Which that just changes a little bit of the results. So like and then this is the whole process. So they have that, And then they say, next, consider the bonus dice, going through each of these in turn. One other character can choose to assist. They must say how they assist. They get +1d or +1 effect, but they also take 1 stress. Next, offer a devil's bargain. On this roll, +1d, the character transgressed against the whole or gang member during the investigation, and the gang member will be out for revenge. The mission gains 1 noise, which, like I said, I think that's a mechanic that I didn't look at very heavily. And then only if the devil's bargain is refused, ask the player if the wishes to push themselves. If so, they take 2 stress to gain 1 dice. You can't get a devil's bargain and a push. It's one or the other. And then roll a number of dice equal to the action. Roll a number of dice equal to the chosen action rating plus any bonus dice acquired, and take the highest single result. Resolving the action. Give the characters information appropriate to their effect level. Consequences can be avoided or reduced with a resistance roll. The roll is 6 to succeed with no problems. If they roll 2 6s, give the information the highest effect level. If the roll is a 4 out of 6, 4 or 5, the roll succeeds, but there are consequences. If the action was risky, they have a reduced effect, given the information 1 effect level lower. So if it's 4 or 5, you would have gotten, you couldn't have gotten any lower than what you guys got anyways. And then if the action roll was desperate, they also take a complication. Garci Hatchet, who's the gang leader, senses trouble and sends a gang member to check on Nicely. The gang member is with the Nicely when the mission begins. The mission gains +1 noise. And then 1 to 3 is if the action roll was risky, which it was, lose the opportunity. They cannot survey the tenant and have to begin the mission without additional planning time. Which the planning time thing is weird to me.
Yeah.
And then if the action roll was desperate, they also take a serious complication. The gang members are there.
Yeah, see, and I think that's part of that is just how we approach it, because there's the high risk and reward kind of thing, like +1 rewards, +1 risk. And so I think that's where it starts. That's something that conceptually I just have not
yeah, and I just did it because it's new. I just put it at risky and standard, I guess. And I guess you guys can decide if you want it to be desperate or risky.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, we can improve it. Like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we survey from across the street. Okay, in order to survey, we go and like sneak into the, you know what I'm saying? I think that they're probably narratively ways that they adjust how you do it and stuff like that. I think that's the part that that's the part that I'm having a hard time grasping, is how to like.
Well, I think I am too, because I can't with confidence say that's how it's written as far as I could understand. But again, I have really done it incorrectly. So obviously, we need to run A State again, and you need to run an A State.
Oh, you think so?
Or Blades?
Well, I mean, if you want me to give it a try, that's fine. I feel like this is what I really like about the world. It's the kind of world that I enjoy, the grunge mega city feeling, the desperation. It kind of hits me in that kind of, I don't want to say grimdark, but it hits me in that kind of like gritty.
Oh, it's grimdark. It's pretty grimdark.
But like everything about this world is just.
There's places in this that like there's things in this that are definitely like high 40K Hive City sort of grimdark.
Yeah, and I think that, and I think the problem is I'm not sure. Like, I'll have to read a little bit, and I don't think I'd be able to do something next week with this, but I'd have to read to understand how this game makes a good one shot as opposed to the campaign, because a lot of the stuff that you do tends to have delayed consequences past the mission. So exactly. Like if you have a situation in which you like we really bungled this mission according to the dice rolls. We bungled pretty much at every step we could because we had bad dice. Well, in the mission, consequently, we still succeeded. It not perfectly, obviously. I mean, if we were to perfectly, we would have had captured the lady. The mob would have been, not had the chance to break it. You know what I'm saying? There would have been other outcomes. But like the real detriment would have been the fact that we bungled the mission, made enemies with the gang, like
the mob is just a clock. Like there's not a whole lot you can do.
Exactly.
Unless it's super fast, you're probably going to get the mob. In your case, you did okay. I mean, disarming the mob.
Yeah, and I mean, we like I said, we had mixed results towards the end, but I'm just saying is that the enmity from the gang and the gang leader isn't going to really be a factor that we had to consider.
Right, but it
That
will be. Yeah, it would be if this was a campaign game.
Yeah,
Like,
so like, but if this was a campaign, we'd have to consider those types of things, as well as how much attention did we draw from any of the other major factions outside of this gang leader. Maybe this Josanna was actually the manufacturing that she was doing was for somebody way more important than her in the food chain.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Sure.
those kind of consequences we don't get to see. And I think that makes it kind of a tricky.
No, it's definitely a campaign game as opposed to a one-shot game. You're basically just trying to work out the mechanics of
Yeah,
the system this way, which is
a
I think
little
it can
tricky.
I think this or Blades in the Dark, like a campaign, would be what you need to play. Like, I don't think, even if it's a short campaign of only 5 or 6 sessions, would be better than a one shot, in my opinion. Like I said, A State is interesting. I can't say it's I don't know if it's necessarily for me as far as running a game, but I enjoy playing with you guys.
Yeah. There were things that I liked, and there are things that I feel I needed to personally bring a little bit more to, if I'm being honest. But I had fun, and it did make me kind of interested in doing more. I'm kind of like with Mike. I sort of like the setting. I mean, it is grim, it is depressing, but it isn't that different than we've seen in other movies and books and TV shows, things like that. I thought it was interesting. I appreciate that somebody asked us to give it a shot. You know,
Yeah, very much. Yeah. And I think reading it a couple more times, I might like it more. But yeah, I definitely struggled a little bit with this one.
Okay.
well, but see, I think that's fair. I mean, I think people need to understand that, like, the first time you play something, it doesn't. It's not going to be the best time you play something unless it's the only time you play it.
And not every system is for everybody.
And not every system's for everybody.
But
Yeah. What I was really impressed by, and this is maybe one of those things where I feel like, um, Forged in the Dark, you can't say that every Forged in the Dark is the same. Like that's that. I don't.
oh
That's,
no,
you
no.
definitely can't say that. But what I was really saddened by is I didn't really see a lot of like beginner help from Handiwork Games. So if Handiwork Games happens to hear this, they should probably, because I went to their website just to see what other accessories and stuff like that they had. They have a really cool tower that you can put on your table to kind of use as a reference guide. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh no, I didn't.
But there weren't any like quick player reference guides or anything like that. And I don't know if those are more community driven things, but it doesn't look as though the community really put anything together like that. So there wasn't like a cheat sheet to kind of help you, like boil all 300 and some pages down into your cheat sheets. And that's what like other games that I've really enjoyed was able to do is I'm able to give you a player handout so that because it's your first time in it, I can say, okay, well, this is your moves, this is your outcomes, et cetera, et cetera. So you kind of know, okay, well, if I want to do a investigate roll, I'm going to narratively describe that and I'm going to roll a plus whatever. Sure. And then, you have that information handy. Whereas this one, I felt like all this stuff in the book, you kind of have to still flip between pages and all that.
Yeah,
kind of
and normally if I could have if I get more into a system, that's usually what I do is I go in and I make my own cheat sheets for people, and I just didn't. I just couldn't for some reason with this system, which is on me.
It's okay.
It happens sometimes, but it is nice when they provide those, like
Yeah.
Monster of the Week and all of the Powered by the Apocalypse ones. They usually have cheat sheets.
Mhm.
It was interesting when I realized that they didn't have moves in this system, which I don't think they do in Forged in the Dark either. Like I think that's a piece they took out.
Yeah. Well, and maybe what I'll do is less play this per se and maybe play Blades in the Dark just to see if I can get a sense of how the game plays from that.
It feels very similar to what I read about Blades in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Which is neat, really. It's just kind of a different setting, but
Yeah.
but no, I really like the books. I do really like some of the fluff is inspiring. some of the artwork is really, really beautiful in the book. I just don't know if this application of it just does it for me, but I'll probably read it again, and maybe we'll try it again in the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could always play this with the home table when we do more people, and maybe more people helps kind of like round it out. But I think that table we have Dune next. Is that what we're going to play there? Or is that's what I announced we're playing, but is everybody on board with that?
Are you ready to play Dune?
I don't know. Am I?
I don't know. Are you?
We got Monster of the Week that we're playing right now.
Yeah, and we have to finish that on Wednesday.
Yeah, and then it would be Dune 2 weeks or next 2 Wednesdays from now. Am I ready to play Dune? Yeah, sure.
Well, 2 Wednesdays. So this Wednesday, are we finishing, and then characters the next Wednesday, or?
I think that's what my thought process was.
Okay.
I mean, I will really. You guys finishing all depends on you guys. I mean, we could finish this Wednesday, but I don't know. But we have one person that I think he will be back, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. So it'd be nice to get everything up and running.
Oh yeah.
And plus, I think you guys are really close. Like, this isn't designed to be a very difficult mystery, and that's what I kind of like about them.
Yeah, they're good for those when people are missing or whatever. Like, I think Monster of the Week's good for that.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to try kind of a West March type game, with the whole D&D stuff, where you can just kind of do missions and stuff.
Which is going to be your Dune game?
I don't think so. I think I more just want to get into this system.
You mean Monster of the Week is like that, not more West March style. Yeah.
Well, but I would love to have a D&D campaign where we could just have those interlude missions where we flash back to a mission that 3 of you guys went on and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm necessarily out of A State. I just think that the Forged in the Dark stuff, it's so new to me, because honestly, I'm surprised that we've never played any Forged or Blades in the Dark type game.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how different it was than Monster of the Week. When I started cracking into it, like, it's definitely different level of that. So yeah.
Well, that to each their own. We'll definitely continue to try Blades in the Dark style games, or Forged in the Dark. That's what I meant. Forged in the Dark style games.
It is hard to separate that. Like, is it just me, or is it?
Yeah, Forged in the Dark is like powered by the apocalypse. It's the same sort of tag, which I think is hard to remember sometimes, because I always want to say apocalypse things when I'm talking about the other games too. Before we wrap up, one thing I always like to ask after running a game is any feedback for me personally on how I run the game, narrative parts, anything like that.
No, I think I think that was just fine this time.
They mean they want to say hateful things about me after.
No, I think we called out the rules growing pain stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was just some different.
I should know the rules better. Yeah.
That's not what
no, that's true though. I should know the rules better.
Good way. That was great Aikido there, Brent. Oh, the rules.
The only person I actually threw under the bus was myself earlier when I said I could have role played.
Oh, well,
but other than that, I thought you laid it out. I thought you probably gave us a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. If we'd have died, we'd have died.
It's hard putting any, like, that information, like, part where it's like, oh yeah, you guys don't know anything. Good luck. Like, that's really hard for me. That's really hard for me.
It was just a strange.
At that point, maybe we would have decided that all we could do is kick in the door. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but being like, no, you don't get to survey the building at all. You just kind of. You don't know what the building's like, or like, it's like, I can't let them, like, I can't do that.
You try to get near the building and gangers immediately stop you.
You know where the building is, but you have no idea what it looks like, as if it's cast in shadow. Like, I don't I can't do that. So at least telling you
that's fair.
What the building looked like, and like, I think I
think this is the first time we've played a game though where all 3 of us were unfamiliar with the system, like had not played it at all.
Yeah.
or
That's
something.
probably correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, no Monster of the Week, because I had never played a Monster in the Week game.
well, I hadn't either.
You hadn't either, and Mike hadn't run one before.
Okay.
So we have done that multiple times on this show, because Fabula Ultima, none of us had ever played that game.
No, none of us had played. Okay,
so
I
that's
don't
really
know talking about that. I'm crazy.
It was fun.
No, I'm wrong.
That's really kind of what we do here. If people are interested in that, is we play games that we are unfamiliar with, and sometimes they don't go so well.
Yeah, especially on the live plays, we're trying things. This was a suggestion from a viewer. So if you have something you'd like to see us play, or I don't know, want to torture us with,
it wasn't torture.
No, it wasn't. No, I just meant.
See Brent and that Aikido again. Boom. Jeff is like, if you want to torture us, then Brent's just like, I tortured Jeff. Okay.
No, I'm just saying that running the game wasn't torture. Like I said, I wasn't into it at the beginning, but it wasn't too bad. Hopefully I did it justice. To the person that suggested this, we really appreciate it. Hopefully I did an okay job.
Yeah.
And if I didn't, it's their fault.
Yeah, it's always the player's fault. I mean, Mike, that's usually the crutch you get to hide behind. Well, obviously I DM'd brilliantly, and the players really let down the material that was
the players didn't go to the right inn. They really screwed it up by staying in a location where nothing was happening.
All I'm saying is that I'll give you that.
The Mason game was memorable. That's all I'm going to say.
The Mason game was awesome. Like most of your games have been, that was very memorable.
I honestly love the Mason game, and that scene
I did too,
in which we were
things.
able to have like the strange Jeff like auto writing thing. That was
that was perfect. That was really
great.
Perfect. Yeah,
and really saved my bacon, if you don't mind me saying. Hell pigs
but like
and bacon.
It's just so funny that like we didn't even think about it. Like, oh, all of this stuff is happening in that other inn. We're gonna stay somewhere else. It's a free. It's a free room. Yeah, we're not interested in that. We're gonna go to the one we have to pay for.
Well, Murray had paid. I think that was.
Well, he was rich. That was.
Yeah, that's true. But
it was like a key part of his character is that he was rich.
Yeah.
All right. So, no, it was a good time. I don't see any questions in chat.
No.
If anybody has one, if you're still watching and want to ask us a question, please do. We'll hang on here for a minute or so.
Otherwise, yeah, we do appreciate it. Truthfully, we hope that you guys enjoy this. We're not necessarily the people that just want to read a book and tell you that what we think of it from reading it. We want to at least give it
we want to try.
And so
even if it's a one shot, and if you ever don't think the one shot does a game liberty, let us know and we'll probably try it again.
Yeah.
Either all we'll switch GMs and do it a different way, or the same GM will try it again. So please let us know.
Yep. And then I think we have a few other games that we are planning on reading and giving impressions on coming up really soon. Some high fantasy style games, because we kind of bounce back and forth. And depending on how they look, we may even give them a try. So I'm thinking about Distal or DC 20 from the Dungeon Coach. So we've been poring over those books. I didn't realize how much reading I'd be doing. So my reading brain it's full.
It's hard. I think I ran in that a little bit while I was reading A State. I was like reading so many other things, so it's like I can't absorb this as well as I normally absorb.
Sometimes it's hard to meaningfully incorporate what you're reading. You know what I mean? It just is.
I think what it is for me, and this is something I was definitely noticing, because I was reading A State and I was just trying to absorb these alien kind of concepts, and I was like, my reading comprehension is not very high with this. And then I was reading DC 20 and I was like, my brain just kind of knew the words. And so, I was just like, oh, okay, I get it. And I was using a familiar two-step to it, whereas like A State, it just was so much.
Well, that's the advantage. That's the advantage of D&D. Like, is that everybody has some reference for D&D.
Our frame of reference is much stronger there.
Yeah. Even if you've never played a role-playing game, you probably know somebody who has, or somebody who's talked about it, or you've seen it on a TV show. You know, as much as I dog on Wizards, like that's why D&D has an advantage. It's been around the longest, and it's not. It's a crunchy system, but I wouldn't say it's a hard system to pick up.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you have that language, you know, like in DC 20, like I'm reading through it and I'm like, okay, I get this section. Like this section, I get it because it's not too. It doesn't deviate too far from the standard rule.
Yeah,
you know, like because now I have the lexicon, like advantage and disadvantage, and means similarly here.
Yeah, whereas other systems that have been around a long time, like GURPS, which has like so much math up front that you want to stab yourself in the face. Like that's what makes them hard, is there's just the systems just aren't as intuitive, and that's why D&D, you know. So
well, we'll see. Maybe the newest D&D won't be intuitive. Haha, take that.
I think it's
the forever edition is the hardest edition to learn.
I just think it's going to be written in crayon. That's what my current assessment is.
As long as it's got training wheels, I'll be happy.
Written in crayon. That's my current assessment. It's just going to be like, we didn't know what we were doing, so we just did stuff.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they seem like it was all ready for print, so it's going to be released later this year. And obviously, as a sucker, I'll still probably pick up a copy because I picked up a copy at 4th edition.
I probably won't. So you'll be the one third audience.
Yeah, it happens. You know, because I think with I picked up. I have 3, 3.5, 4, 5. I mean,
I have so many Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books that you would be amazed. I have the complete set of the Brown books, the players' handbooks. I have a complete set.
Yeah, I had a lot of those books, but they weren't made very well. They just like the sleeves just fell off of most of mine.
Yep.
Like,
you know what I did? You know what I did?
Hand stitched new covers on.
I bought
with leather you tanned yourself.
You bought 2.
I bought 2 of them. One to use and one to keep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I really enjoyed the.
I am dumb.
Back in those days, economically, that was more feasible than role-playing books today.
That's true. That's probably true.
Like when you could actually buy 2, because I think the books were only like what, $14.95 each, maybe.
Some of them, yeah.
I think they were at least 30.
Nowadays it's like buy 2 $50 books.
Well, these are soft cover books, so they weren't. They
were soft cover, weren't
15, I think, is about right. Yeah.
What was that movie Compact where they were like, why build 1 when you can build 2 for twice as much or something?
Contact, that was the space movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of approach that you were able to take there.
The Matthew McConaughey vehicle.
No, that wasn't Matthew McConaughey. That was Jodie.
He's in it.
Is he?
Yes. He's the priest's boyfriend thing in the movie. And the reason I know this, because I had just seen Texas Chainsaw the Massacre, The Next Generation, which also has him in it. And so it blew my mind seeing that character and then seeing the character from Contact, because they are very different.
The guy can actually act and play different characters.
Yeah, Range. That was Range. It just blew my mind because I kept expecting him to try and eat someone in Contact after watching that movie, or say some crazy stuff.
All right, we haven't gotten any new things in chat. So do you guys want to wrap up, or do we got something else we want to cover?
No,
sure. Let us know how they can contact us, Jeff.
They can find us. We are at Rollwise. We are on Facebook, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube. Or we can be reached by email, rollwiseguys@gmail.com.
And thank you for joining us. As always, roll well, roll wise, and be safe out there.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.